This week on London Real, we have the investment banker, keynote speaker, and author of Pitch Anything, Oren Klaff.
I can guarantee if you listen to me pitch for 60 minutes, you're gonna buy something you don't necessarily want to own. War, extreme environments, asking people for $50 million. These things are at the edge of the human experience. And I do this work day after day after day. People want what they can't have, people chase that which moves away from them, and people only value that which they pay for. Be yourself. Horrible advice. Do not be yourself. You are not good enough.
Don't say thank you, don't think thank you.
Don't think thank you. Just get that out of your vocabulary. Save it for Christmas. I'm a banker. I care about the brain, synaptic responses, chemistry of the mind, to the degree I can make money with it.
London Real presents Oren Klaff, How to Pitch Anything.
$8 billion fades away if you don't do this right.
This week on the show, we have a good friend of mine named Mr. Oren Klaff, who is a motivational speaker, investment banker, and author of the book Pitch Anything. Oren knows how you can lock in to someone's lizard brain and get another human to make an important decision, whether that's in the boardroom, in a business deal, in a relationship, anywhere. Oren is the master. He says that people want what they can't have, that they chase what runs away from them, and they only value what they pay for. These are important, strong lessons. Oren is a fantastic guy. He lives in my old hometown in San Diego, and he really is the best when it comes to pitching. And pitching, it's different than sales. You know, a salesman really, has clients. A pitch is someone who wants to go in and make things happen. It's all about how you communicate your social status, and there's some really big lessons here. So pay attention. Oren will help you get what you need. And you know what? We're all pitching. You pitch the family on the vacation you want to go to. You pitch your friends on where you want to go to dinner. So this applies for everyone. There's so many key psychological tools here, and I think you're going to get a ton out of this episode. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. A lot of you have been asking me, Brian, what the heck is this academy thing all about? Well, if you're not sure, then I created a 3-minute video to let you know what we're doing inside. But at the very basic, it's 1,000 people. It's actually the most hardest core London Reelers around the world that are getting together to build better versions of themselves. We do it via exclusive courses, premium content, live webinars, and getting together at the studio here in London, which we do every 2 weeks. If you want to be a part of it, then come check it out. And now check out this video.
The entrepreneurial journey, it can be a lonely road. I push myself in so many areas, but you can't do it all yourself.
The thing about the academy is, it's like, look, you have the ideas, you have the ability, you have the skill, and you have the sort of ambition for yourself. But when you have a group of people pulling you forward, it's so important.
Accountability is what's missing from most of the programs or any gurus or any internet mentor that I had before.
I wanted to get some accountability. I wanted to make myself accountable to a group, to you.
The reason we started the Academy is because I felt like we were doing these amazing talks, like we'd have a Peter Sage episode or a Dan Pena episode or a Kala or someone, and you get super inspired, and then YouTube stops, and then you go back to your life and you don't make any changes. And it was just like, it felt like, what are we doing? If you're designing your life right, the good times are now. And in a few years, you'll look back and say, wow, that was amazing.
The thing about the academy is it has so many different sort of layers to it. I think your web seminars are awesome. The way you broke it down and the style of your teaching is pretty awesome.
I like the feed. When I have to motivate myself, I kind of look at others struggling and getting over those struggles. So I actually follow daily the feed.
best feature would be the sort of Facebook aspect of it, the social media aspect of it, as in creating a profile with your goals, your dreams.
Everyone's on the same vibe, and we may be at different stages in our journeys, but everyone's on the same page at the end of the day. Everyone's really trying to push themselves and building the best you. It really resonates with me.
And the fact that I'm committing a small amount of money and the fact that I'm actually trying to interact with those people means that I'm invested and means that I will keep it for the long run.
You have to be serious about yourself and what you want to achieve. And if you're serious about yourself, this is going to be such a fantastic platform.
London Real, sponsored by Bulletproof. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Oren Klaff, who is an American investment banker, business media personality, and best-selling author of Pitch Anything, an innovative method for presenting, persuading, and winning the deal. You are the founder of Intersectional Capital, and over the past 15 years, you've raised more than $1 billion for your clients and helped countless others position themselves for financial and commercial success. You come from my old neighborhood of San Diego. Oren, welcome back to London Real.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it, Brian. But when you say countless others, they're countable, right? It's a lot of people.
A lot, yeah?
Yeah, and they're accountable. Like we're doing the Lord's work, helping people raise money, go into meetings, and stop investors and corporations from taking advantage of the entrepreneur, the operator, the guy who's actually doing work. And when they step out to do finance, somebody needs to protect them. That's us.
That's you.
Yeah.
You have changed a lot since we saw you about a year ago. We had this amazing conversation. I saw you in January. We were both at the Ty Lopez conference. We both did some speaking there, and you were like, Brian, I'm doing big stages. I'm on the stage with Tony Robbins. I'm doing all this big stuff. And I was like, what happened? You got famous. You left the rest of us behind. What happened, Oren? Yeah.
So, stick to my knitting, and I got you. Brian, you are right now talking to a D-level celebrity. How do you? No, I mean, I get recognized in the street. We left here and went to Denmark, walk into a hotel in Denmark, and the front desk manager in the middle of the night goes, I know you. My baseball hat on low, got my baby in hand.
Wow.
And Cassandra's with me, my wife is with me, we're just traveling. He goes, I know you. And I said, you don't know me, don't worry about that. I said, no, I know you, right? And I figure it's my staff pulling another trick. And the guy goes, you're Oren Klaff. I go, are you kidding me? I just walked into a hotel in some random location in Copenhagen. I got this man up my jock, wanting an autograph at 11 o'clock at night, a baby under one hand, but it's, in a way, it's great. So I hit the street, another one quickly.
Yeah.
I go to the Whole Foods in La Jolla, San Diego.
Yeah.
We have a live show every Thursday, so get in my coffee, waiting in line, trying to get some egg whites down. I look up, and the guy goes, you're Oren Klaff! I'm like, fuck. So just like that, coffee takes this beautiful parabolic curve into the air. It all becomes slow motion. It hits the ground perfectly, and this amazing umbrella of scalding hot coffee covers me and the people around me. So I get recognized in the street, in Whole Foods, and
it's a beautiful thing. And so you're speaking now in front of lots of people, right, on big stages.
So I've really moved to big stages. Tony Robbins called me up, and very interesting. I had an impression of Tony
Did you guys have like a relationship, or were you always
No.
saying bad things about Tony? Or you were saying you were always calling things out? Or tell me how that worked.
I think some of the things that Tony published, in the 80s have lost their relevance today. And I think I had a strong voice about that.
Okay.
I didn't have, but then Tony's people called up and we said no. They called up again. We said no. And, finally, like, we have to talk to Oren. And they said, we're doing Business Mastery in Palm Beach. Tony would love Oren to come. And, a lot of those guys, I want to set Tony aside. He is very interesting, great. I was so impressed when I went to that. But they want you to sell from the stage. And I do content, like real high quality performance product.
Okay.
And so I don't sell from the stage. And I go, Tony, you got to pay. He goes, fine, I'll pay. Wired money the next day, flew to Palm Beach. I was so impressed. I used to think Tony's this Svengali that somehow has taken $15,000 out of guys' pockets, and delivering them, some stuff. But when I went to Business Mastery, it's 5 days long, and these are companies that were spending money anyway to go to conferences. They come to it's motivational. They're learning a lot. Tony's giving personal attention.
Big value.
Delivers.
Right?
I was so impressed. Like he's not taking these guys' money. They're getting value.
Okay.
He paid me, to come on. I deliver real value. We brought the thunder. I took it seriously. I flew in a day and a half before to prepare mentally and focus just on that. I brought the thunder on his stage. Blew it up, and he's delivering great value. So I was impressed. Spent a little time.
How long do you talk for? And like, what for the mastery when you were there in Florida? How long did you get up for? And what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's an hour.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so, what I like to share with audiences, and I like to, the reason I like these big stages is because they give you a chance to bring the thunder, to change people's complete perspective on what's possible. And so when you go in, like I just came here from a little talk at a company, and when there's 50 or 75 people, there's folding chairs, there's a little bit of AV. They're not really ready in that environment to have their mind blown. Right. They're sort of ready to get some cumulative information. So I like 5,000 people, and you can take their energy, you can bring, it's like superhero character, you feel that way. Someone who tells you 5,000 people is like 50, you just got to deliver it. Absolutely categorically wrong. You feel 5,000 souls.
And it's a dance. You're both working with the energy together.
You bring it in, you internalize it, you put it out, and it is a moving experience. In fact, I just saw Denzel Washington did a thing on the stage, and he said, I much prefer live performances than all the film stuff. I'm addicted to the live stuff, and the bigger, the better.
That's what Denzel said.
Yeah.
Because he's a film guy. So it's him and the director and some cameras, and you got to bring it in front of a lens. Yeah. Totally different feel, right?
Very, very hard.
But you're a guy that likes to go big, Oren. I can just see you out in front of that stage just lighting it up. I don't know what it is in you. I wouldn't say you're a performing kind of guy, but it seems like when you got something you're passionate about, you just want to let it rip.
Yeah, so when you have the ability to reach that many people with a transformative message, and you have the charisma that they'll respond to, then you want to use that to make I get paid the same amount, right? So for example, let's say I'm doing a stage of 5,000 people, call it $100,000 check to get you. We get that before you go on stage. They make sure you show up, you're upright, not drinking too much, right? You're dressed appropriately, that your pants aren't going to fall down around your knees, and you're not going to swear too much. Right. And now we're starting to see some swearing clauses.
Okay. Did you swear at the Tony Robbins event?
Yeah, Tony's pretty comfortable with that.
Okay.
So I kind of black out and whatever, but it's congruent. So when I swear, people don't go nuts with it because it's congruent. So,
okay.
Flows with it. But say it's $100,000 engagement, right? I get paid before I step on stage. It doesn't matter what I do. I can read the phone book. I made the money, right? So what's the incentive to try and transform people's perspective on what's possible with their experiences. And it's just, when there's that many people there paying attention to you, your DNA wants to pay it back.
Okay.
And so it's.
And where do you go when you got an hour with people that you don't know what level they're at? I guess they have some level because they're there. They've spent some money. They're probably somewhere in a corporation. But like, how do you know where to go? And what do you talk to them about?
So I start at the absolute beginning, right? Which is that, so my business is, and this is how I start all my speeches. I spend my days walking into rooms, staring down old grumpy men, usually towards the end of the day. And my job is to go in there and ask them for money, and to ask them for a lot of money. I'm talking 5, 10, 15, sometimes $50 million. When you sit across the table from someone and you ask them for $50 million, you will find yourself in a stressful situation. And I do this work day after day after day. And as stressful as it is, nobody is there to say, you look like you need a hug. More likely, you've just started talking and someone will say, sorry, do you need a to-go lid for that coffee? And
high performance stuff.
It's high stakes, limited times at bat. Results matter because you've told some company with 50, 60, 70 people that you're going to go get them $30 million, and they're relying on that for the future of the company, right? And so, it's high stakes. And so I feel like, the things you learn, so think about North Face. They got to go up Kilimanjaro, to learn about cold weather and material science and what works and what doesn't. You can't in Los Angeles. So the best North Face store maybe in the world is on North Beverly Boulevard in Beverly Hills, right? But they don't invent that stuff there. They invent it at the top of Kilimanjaro where you can die. And so that's the same thing. I go into these situations where it is do or die, and I got to figure it out. And so I start to see some of the basic elements in the human condition. War, extreme environments, asking people for $50 million. These things are at the edge of the human experience. And so I started right at the beginning. What do you see in human psychology? People want what they can't have. People chase that which moves away from them. And people only value that which they pay for. And that's where I start. Because those are the strip away the clothing, strip away the social status, the family, the buildings, everything. We're animals. And that's how animals respond. And so where I go next is saying that's, your job, the buyer is programmed to say maybe or no. That's in their genetic process. So how do we hijack their process to our advantage? Right? Now, when I say how do we hijack their process to our advantage, we've got to be careful people don't freak out. We're not, we're representing good companies with honest products in, authentic deals. But our job is to go get the money from an investor. And how do we stop the investor from running us in circles, from, delaying, giving us delays and providing us certainty? We do that by hijacking their process and making it our process.
Can't you just be yourself, Oren? Can't you just
it's funny.
Live on your merits and let the numbers speak for themselves?
So, who is them? You have MMA fighters in here. They just go into the octagon and be themselves, right? They do any preparation? Are they programmed to respond to situations? I'm trying to think. The President Obama. Hey, you're addressing the nation, just be yourself. Well, do I need a speech or anything? Nah, just grip it and rip it, buddy. Tell them, your thoughts. Like doomsday scenario, be yourself. Remember, I just got off a stage where I said, it's funny you bring that out. I go, be yourself, horrible advice. Do not be yourself. You are not good enough. You would not be here if being yourself was good enough. Like Warren Buffett, go ahead, fucking be yourself. That's good enough. Tom Cruise, be yourself. Who knows who Tom Cruise is, right? He's like the Sybil of our generation. But, be yourself, horrible advice. Because I'll tell you why. And I'm talking about the seller-buyer relationship. The notions we have about how to sell are really the opposite of how buyers like to buy. And so if you're just be yourself, and I'll give you a perfect example, you come in and the first thing you do is try and generate rapport.
Build rapport.
Build
Right.
rapport.
Right.
Right?
Not break rapport. 'Cause
Right.
that's
Not,
a no-no,
right.
right?
Build rapport.
Right.
Look around. That's a beautiful bulldog. It's chrome. It's like I've been looking at it since I've been here. That's amazing. Like I wish I had a piece like that myself. Where did you get that?
Can't have my fucking money.
That's a picture of you and Neil deGrasse Tyson. That is like one of the podcasts I love. I mean, that is just. I feel like it's just so amazing that you get these interviews, and I'm super impressed by. You're one of.
I'm thinking of a line that you said, which is, when you fail to control the social frame, you probably have already lost the deal.
Sure. Because today, and I'm not sure how much we talked about this last time, but information has no convincing power in today's world, right? In fact, I bet that if you're selling something or you're going to a deal, the buyer or the other side probably knows more about your business than you do, because you got your nose down, forest for the trees. They're researching it for the first time. Certainly, if it's a product or a service that you sell, they've researched other, so you're not going to really give them any information they don't already have, right? If your pitch, if your sales presentation, if your ideas are based on information, then you're telling people things they probably already know, right? The way to get people information is not fly across Europe, drive across town, go to somebody's office and give them information. You FedEx them a packet of paper. That's how you give people information. When you go to the pitch, you give people ideas, and you change their lens on the product or service or idea that you have, and you get them invigorated with new, novel, interesting, enticing ideas, and you make yourself the center of their world for information they need to get ahead in their business. That's why you go give a pitch, not to give people information.
Okay. And just for people that haven't tuned in before to our conversation, pitching versus selling.
Sure.
And you are an expert in the pitch, but a lot of people don't know the differences.
Sure. Selling is, I agree, it's the rapport business, it's the relationship, because you got many bites at the apple. We talked about, if you're selling a copier, you sort of go in and say, hey, notice you guys were growing, you guys are hiring, probably some divisional growth. Copiers have changed a lot in the last 2 years. What do you think about this new Canon? It can make espresso, do bulletproof coffee, book you dates, and one of the least things it does is copy material. It can fax, it can FedEx, it knows if your employees are scanning their butts inappropriately and won't print that data. Like, these things are really good. And the buyer goes, you know what? Not today. We just our Xerox copier is doing pretty well. But why don't you come back in the next quarter? We are continuing to hire, and it's something we would look at. So, sales. Why don't I give you guys some paper and we can start a relationship? Sure, we'll take 2 pallets of paper, right? So selling is sort of, you have multiple bites at it. You put them in your Rolodex. You come back in. They're growing. You're growing. You're going to get something done. These are sort of small transactions. You're convincing people to do business with you at some level, and there's a lot of continuity to it. By contrast, let's say you and I want to buy the building on the other side of the road, knock it down, build something new there. We need a $100 million loan from Bank of London. Okay, we walk in there, we make our proposal, and they go, guys, it doesn't work for us. We don't like your debt service coverage ratio, and this, for us, it's a pass. Right? We cannot go, we understand, why don't we come in next quarter, see how you're doing, see if your money is a little looser, pitch you the same deal. And in fact, if we call the day after, 3 months later, a year later, they're going to go, what about no confused you? It's a no. So in the pitching business, no is no, do not come back. Right? It's binary, 1-0. In selling, you build a relationship over time, eventually you're going to sell something, and the stakes are not as high.
Right. So it's a binary shot. You can't come in with information. That's the schoolboy error, to come in with and just fill them with information. You need to grab that crocodile brain, as you talked about, and really shake them loose to where the old guy, I thought you were going to say at the end of his life, or you said the end of the day, but probably at the end of his day, at the end of his career, at the end of his life, Friday afternoon in a conference room, probably he's thinking about his weekend. You have to snap him out of it, and get him to notice you probably on a social level first,
Right.
before he's willing to even do business with you.
Well, I mean, this is, page 1, chapter 1 of the book. Information gets into the human mind through the crocodile brain, right, which is scared of everything, and then it flows up into the midbrain, which is social. And if it does not believe you're a high-status individual or you have the power to control the social environment that the buyer lives in, then it doesn't pay attention to you. And the information you have never gets to the neocortex.
Right, the homeless people you don't recognize on the street, the people giving parking tickets, you don't even know they're there because they don't even register because your brain's already processed them.
Right, the brain's processed them out. They have no impact on my social status and my ability to create attention and additional value for myself. Low status people are not able to create value for you, other than in the job they're supposed to do, right? And so your status, the job of a pitch, right, is really to raise your status so high that the buyer will give you lots of attention, right? Give him new and novel ideas to get him excited, then deliver your information in a very short, tight package, and then challenge him and give him a test and make him prove to you that he's good enough to do business with you. That's the job of a pitch. Has really almost nothing to do with giving information.
And it doesn't have a lot to do with the product at that point or the company or the deal, because you're in the room because that already makes sense, and you have to get it closed.
So if you think about it, I think look, I already told you, I walk down the street, people recognize me. I got an ego, as I told you before, it's hard to find warehouses.
You say that, but you're actually very cool to hang out with. Right. So,
okay. So, and so I think a lot about myself. Other people have a lot of respect for me. My baby loves me. I don't have much toxicity in my life, and it's good. And I get a lot of social proof that I'm a good guy, and people like me a lot. But I walk into these pitching rooms, and they largely haven't heard of me, and they're tired, and they forgot why I'm there. And you're starting with a very, very low status position. So you got to build it up so people are like, whoa, I'm in the hands of a professional. This pitch, I'm getting my ass pitched off right now by a professional. It's short, it's concise, it is in the language that I use when I talk to my own, business people, and I'm learning things at a fast pace, and I'm getting insight. This is great stuff, and I don't know where this guy came from or who he is, but I can't even remember his name, but I love him. And I want him to stay here as long as he can. That's the job of the first 5 minutes, not to, compliment the bulldog or look at the photos on the wall and say, I also love that guy, right? It's to let that guy know that you have so much valuable information, it's packaged so well that he's gonna have a huge payoff just by sitting in the seat and paying attention. And you'll see the indications of doing this right. I just had it today. Walking a meeting, bags of potato chips opening, people texting on the cell phone, sandwiches going on, rustling, people talking to each other. And I don't have to ask people, hey guys, it's gonna start now, if you could quiet down, get your sandwiches finished, right? I just go. And 45 seconds into it, here comes thunder.
How does that go? Roughly. I'm not asking you to pitch, but I'm just saying, how do you start in a situation like that?
So it's really easy, right? In order to know good, you have to understand evil, right? And so I would say what I see most people do is say, thank you so much for taking this meeting with me. Really appreciate the opportunity to come here. Forget all that. Please, thank you. It's not in the dictionary anymore. So the way that starts is, hey guys, 11 o'clock, that's the time we agreed to start. Let's light the fire and kick the tires. Does anybody need fluids in or out? If not, let's roll. Whoa, what just happened? Right? I think that guy just told me if I don't need to go to the bathroom, this meeting is started. And then they'll go, Will isn't here yet, we're waiting on Will, right? I go, Will's a smart guy. He knows he's running late, and then he'll have to play catch up, right? Will play catch up as much as he can, right? You're here out of respect for your time, my time. Let's kick this thing off. And then they'll go, okay, great, kick off. Let us tell you about ourselves. They'll say, let us tell you about our situation and ourselves, and we want to let you know about the company and some other things we're doing. Yeah, you're here to give the pitch. I have Wikipedia, and I know how to use it, right? Coca-Cola is not exactly like a hidden secret what you guys are doing. Right? I look at the financials, Wikipedia, and you guys have done amazing things for 100+ years. And in the 70s, like Coca-Cola was dominant. You beat Pepsi. In the 80s and the 90s, you resurged, new Coke, you had to deal with it. In the 2000s, you expanded into the product line is amazing. Switch your business model, But what we're here to talk about is today's Coca-Cola and tomorrow's Coca-Cola in a very you're a couple $100 billion company. We're here to talk about $100 million segment of a company and what's happening today. Why don't we tell you our pitch, how we view it, and then in context of what we have, you can reflect back to us. We'll give you some time.
Okay, so talk first is important.
I think talk first is important. So when you understand the client that you're pitching to. Okay, so the guys I work with, so there's two kinds of guys. Guys who pitch the same kind of, think about an ad agency, right? They pitch Ford, they pitch Jaguar, they pitch Volvo, they pitch Volkswagen, so they understand the client. So when you understand the client and the client's space and what their cares and concerns are, then you want to go first, for sure. For companies trying to raise money, they're going out and meeting this kind of investor for the first time. And so we jump in there and so if a company's going to raise money and they're meeting the investor, they should allow the investor to talk so they can get oriented. But we know exactly what the investor's issues are. So yeah, we talk. If you understand the client, you talk first, control the agenda, and then you can give them their time to talk when you're done. The reason you go first, attention.
Right.
Right?
And status too?
Status and attention. And a lot of people think wow, I can't be that aggressive. Right? And women will say, I can't walk into a client and tell them, hey, do you need fluids in or out? If not, let's roll. You don't have to say it like that. So you could say quite nicely, it's 11 o'clock. That's the time we all agreed to start. The people who are still rolling in can play catch up. I know I need to use the restroom. I'm going to go do that quickly if anybody else needs to go. And let's get some water going. And in 2 minutes, we're going to put the projector on and start the presentation.
Okay, so that's the nicer version of that.
Yeah.
More PC version.
Yeah.
People love it when people take charge, right? How many meetings have we been in before where no one takes charge and it's just a waste of everyone's time?
Yeah.
I find this refreshing. Someone comes in and says, look, we're going to start. This is what I'm going to say.
Okay. So a couple things. Absolutely. If somebody comes in and runs this process on me and I recognize it, I go, this is great. Oh, they got a professional here. They're not going to tell me what the agenda is. They're going to run the agenda, right? What's the agenda for this meeting? Well, the agenda is we're going to give an awesome pitch, going to blow you back in your seat, going to tell you everything you need to know about our product. We're going to try and help you make a decision, and we're going to have honest conversation about it. And at the end of an hour, you're going to know everything you need to know. We're going to lay out some options and give you a chance to. That's the agenda, right? So you need to set the agenda. The agenda is this is going to be a professionally run meeting. We know what we're doing. We're going to give our pitch in 20 minutes,
right.
Not take 60 minutes and bore you to tears and make you wish you were somewhere else. And then we're going to have, at the end of the pitch, some time for discussion, And when somebody says that to me, I'm like, wow, take me on the roller coaster ride. I love it.
Right.
This is going to be time well spent.
Talk to me about 20 minutes. If people that are listening, should they really work on their 20 or even 15? Because I guess if you're new at this, you probably better get that attention quick or even get it out quick, because I guess a lot of people have the tendency to just let it drag, throw useless information in there to be comfortable. Does any of that sound right?
I think here's a key assumption that I have. And it's because, sometimes the scientists say things and it's not pragmatic or applicable to the business world, but I don't think there's any disagreement. Cognitive psychologists, brain researchers, business people, academics, taxi cab drivers, the span of human attention has a stop limit at 20 minutes. TED Talks are 20 minutes, you know, and so I've been banging the 20-minute drum for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to add something to it. Only give that pitch, that part of the presentation where you're telling people about your service, your product, your idea, your company, only speak for as long as you can be compelling. So that might be 6 minutes.
Yeah. Some TED Talks are 6 minutes and 12 minutes.
Yeah. So it's not, hey, let me go for 20 minutes and then shut it off. Go for as long as you can be compelling. I don't know if we talked about comedians last time.
No, I don't think so.
So think about a comedian that a good, solid comic program is 20 minutes, right? I'd love to have a Sunset Boulevard Laugh Factory 20-minute, you know, program. It'd be awesome. Right? But they start with 2 minutes. They're like, I got to nail down 2 minutes of great material. They don't go build 20 minutes of material and go, I got to make that 20 minutes better. They go, I got to get a great 2 minutes. And when that's solid, then I can add another minute or 2 minutes. They get to 4 minutes. It could take 6-8 weeks to get to 4 minutes of material. The goal is 20 minutes, right? And I learned this like sort of in giving webinars. Give an hour-long webinar and it's average. Started bringing it in, got better. You know, get down to 25 minutes. It's tighter, it's smoother. I know less tired. I know the material. So bring the size and the length of your presentation down to the period of time where people are riveted and at the edge of their seats.
Okay. Now, when you're out in front of the Tony Robbins crowd and you don't know who's there and you got 5,000 people, you got that hour with them. I'm guessing you get their attention in a similar way, but you want to deliver value. What are the practical steps you can try to get people to switch on? Because again, you don't want to give them information. You want to move them.
Yeah. So I think the answer to that is providing, is raising your relevance. That's why I say I walk into rooms and I have to do this, I do the job that you have to do every once in a while, every single day for tens of millions of dollars. And if I screw up, it hurts a lot of people, right? And I work it, so, that raises the amount of attention and the intensity of attention that they'll give me. But the only way to make that presentation good is, I'm not a comedian, so we make it funny, but I can't tell jokes for an hour. I mean, I don't think any comedians, maybe Chris Rock, has an hour-long show, whatever. Yeah. But you have to provide insight. So they got to be going, oh yeah, that makes sense. I got to take a photograph of your slide, video you, write it down, whisper to the person. You got to see them going, I did not think about the world in that way, but now that you explain it that way, I understand why some things have been going wrong and some things have been going right. There's, I know you have a worldwide audience, but there's a show called The Greatest American Hero. Did you ever see it?
Yeah, old show, right?
Old school.
Yeah, I watched that.
Okay.
We're similar age. So.
Yeah, so the premise is, and we may be so old that we talked about this last time, and I'm going, did we talk about this last time? No!
Well, I would remember that.
Right. Okay, so here's how I tie it all together. There's a show, The Greatest American Hero. Aliens come to Earth, and they leave behind a special suit that has a lot of powers with it and a manual, right? And mistakenly, a school teacher named Ralph Cram, might not be covered. Anyway, a school teacher named Ralph finds the suit and loses the manual, right? And so he gets into all his hijinks, but it can help him fly. But about half the time he tries to fly and he just crashes to the ground. The other half the time, he goes up. Sometimes he tries to run really fast and the suit goes, he gets somewhere. Other times he's just jogging along and he can't, go save the train or whatever. So he's got this suit with these amazing powers, but he lost the manual and it only does what he wants it to do every once in a while. It's random. And so if you're up on stage and helping people understand some of the randomness that's in their life, why sometimes they do it one way and it works, they go back and do it the same way and it doesn't, and it's a head scratcher, right? So they don't, but you pull back the curtain and expose some of the mechanics of the social environment that they live in, then they go, that's helpful.
Okay.
And I can use that, right? So it's not just new information that you have to give people, I believe. It's information that they feel is usable and simple and accessible.
What do you say to people that tell you, I don't pitch, I don't go in for these big $50 million deals. I'm not in the boardroom. I'm not doing a startup. I'm not going to Andreessen Horowitz and pitching for the big chunk of cash. So this isn't relevant to me. What do you say?
Yeah, I was in Andreessen Horowitz the other day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I like Ben Horowitz. I like his hip hop roots.
Yeah, these guys are, they're tough. Okay, but I think for some, there sort of isn't somebody who doesn't pitch, because you need resources to do things. Even if you're in a family and you want to take a vacation this year to Hawaii and not Ohio, you need resources for that, and you need to convince them of it. And if you come in with the logical argument, Hawaii is warm in the winter, Ohio's cold, it's a good time to go, we have points and mileage, you're just sort of you start to getting in an information battle, and somebody will bring as good logical reasons to that argument, and now you're sort of in the debate club about your vacation. It's not a pitch, right?
Right.
And so, even in that situation, I would say, I haven't thought about this, but today, one thing that is true is they are not building any more Hawaii. But what they are building is more people. And Hawaii is getting busier and busier every year, right? And I've even heard from people that have gone there, it's getting a little bit crowded. And there is a possibility that our family could wait so long to visit the Hawaiian Islands that it would just be a populated downtown Manhattan, and we will never, ever experience in the legacy of our entire family, including unborn generations, the opportunity to soak our feet in the pristine, untouched sands of the Hawaiian Islands and experience that the way God intended it.
That's a vacation pitch.
It's a vacation pitch.
So we're all pitching all the time.
You have to.
And I mean, even to it's a family vacation. I mean, that's real. And you're saying so everyone has this possibility.
Well, you need resources, and you need people who are in the modern world. You need resources. You need consensus. You need people to agree with your perspective, right? So I think you have a perspective on things, right? And you cannot get anything done with anybody until they have that same perspective. What's for sure is two perspectives can never agree on a sale, on a transaction, to do something together. You have to give people the lens that you have on a situation, right? And that requires social control and understanding how to bring people so they can see how you're seeing the situation so you can have agreement.
Right, and that's not through information. That's
not through information.
Right, a social piece.
Yeah.
What do you say to people that say, Oren, pitching is American? We're here in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm here in London.
Yeah.
They don't pitch in Europe. Did you not know that? They don't pitch in Europe. They do something else.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
This is like when Larry Mantle, is he the boxing interviewer?
Okay, I don't think I know him.
Boxing interviewer, is a great clip. He says to Evander Holyfield, Evander, some people say you're too old, washed out. To that, you say what? So to the idea that Europeans and the Japanese and the Chinese, don't pitch, that's a social idea. I would bring it back to human nature. People want what they can't have. People chase that which moves away from them, and they only value that which they pay for, right? So the comedy works in Europe, comedy works in China, comedy works in Japan, rock music works in China, rock music works in Japan, rock music comes from Europe, for Christ's sake. So the things that tickle and tantalize the receptor of the human mind work, right? And so whether it's Papua New Guinea, whether it's Europe, you give, you offer somebody something, make them very desirous of it, and then tell them they can't have it, they're going to react to that.
Okay.
No matter where you are. So The overlay, maybe the way I'm doing it is too much.
Right.
But I can dial it back. I gotta, look, I'm here with Brian and in his studio. I can do whatever the fuck I want, right? When I walk into Bank of America, I can't run around throwing F-bombs, throwing back a beer, kicking over furniture, and telling Bank of America they're gonna run it my way, right? Or the highway. I have to be appropriate.
You have to be culturally aware of the social cues, but the whole concept and the idea is still the same. Papua New Guinea, I still got to pitch to get that sweet potato farm, and I'm still gonna have to do it. I might know that I need to, maybe give a nod to this elder here before I go in or something, but it's still the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with that. Something you said there, people want what they can't have, chase what moves away from them, only value what they pay for. It's like all these things are going off in my brain as far as like each one of those in my life has meant something to me. Those are simple things to say, but nobody really says that stuff like you do. Can you go dive into those statements a little bit more? Why do we chase what we can't have? And in the pitch, you want to give them something and being like, you got a chance to do it now. Tell me where all those ideas came from.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to LondonRealAcademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at LondonRealAcademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there, and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.
So there's receptors for cocaine. So when you put cocaine into the system, it gets into the receptor.